Hello, my name is Mark Valeriano, and I have not worked with Shia LaBeouf yet.
We're doing something quite strange here, but we're at a park and just doing a podcast at a park.
This is kind of, in a way, very indie of us. Not. Part of the LA experience is having roommates who have things going on, is having not a contained soundproof space, is driving across town on a whim. And that's how we've ended up in
on a
this
Friday
park.
in LA.
There was a Bulls game going on, so
roommates and Bulls games.
We couldn't really stay at the house because it was getting heated.
Yeah, it was getting heated. It actually was Miami heated.
Miami heated. Oh, okay, that's the joke I was gonna make, but I didn't know if they were playing the Heat. They were playing the Heat.
You nailed it, bro.
Oh shit!
There we go.
Yeah.
Heated.
Yeah, but that's what it is. You know, you can just go out and do it. We just came out here and did it.
Yeah,
you know?
And we're hanging with Mark at a park, and this is Indie Not Films. You're listening to
Indie Not Films. Oh, haven't made it yet.
Haven't made it yet.
The podcast is called Haven't Made It Yet.
Yeah, and I'm Hayden Garrett.
I'm Yannick Ehret.
And I'm Mark Valeriano.
He's on the bench with us.
Let's get to it.
For me, getting out here was making it. You know what I mean? Getting my first job was making it. Getting paid to do this is making it. It doesn't matter what level that is. You know, we're so influenced by so many people all the time. Like, oh, I want that big job. I want everyone to see my shit. But it's like I made it working on a short film for free. That's making it to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting to do what I love, and I got everything covered. You know, I mean, I live hella minimally. Like, I don't own a lot of stuff. I don't own a lot of things. I don't even own a car. But, yeah, I feel like it was important for me to define what it meant to make it early because that kept me going. You know, I remember I would do a couple short things that barely anyone saw, but it still got out there, and that was enough. And I'd go home, and my aunts and uncles would be like, you're going to make it. And I'm just be like, I already did. What do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, I don't need your approval to make it. If I already did in my mind, I'm living my dream. You know what I mean? And I guess what I'm trying to say is like, define that for yourself so that you don't need anyone else to like keep you going. There's days where I don't want to do this right, but the fact that I already am making it, I'm like, cool. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think it's a different answer to that question. I think there's a lot of us out there that, like, I mean, you go to a Thanksgiving with all your relatives and they're
when
like...
am I going to see you on TV?
Exactly,
like, bitch,
exactly.
tomorrow.
And that's what I tell my grandma too. And no, but...
tomorrow never comes. I remember when I decided I was going to move to LA and be an actor, right? I remember my dad was like sitting on the couch. I'm in the living room. I don't know, or not living room, I'm sorry, in the kitchen. What was I don't know what I was doing, but I remember he was on his laptop. He's like an IT guy, computer guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, live by the rules. And he's like, what are you going to do out there? And I was like, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I need to, like, I didn't have to like prove it to him because I didn't know at that point. You know, I didn't know. And I just had this feeling like I was going to be good and I was going to make something happen. It wasn't until like I got my first big paycheck that he was like, oh, you're doing this for real. Because like all he saw was like the money aspect of it, right? Because that's what we're saying is like, when are you going to get a real job? Real job means money to them.
Yeah.
But this is a real job because if I'm doing it and I love it, that means so much more. You know what I mean? That's just like, you can't put a price on that, right? So like, I just encourage people to like if you do love something, to just do it, and you don't have to know how at all. You never have to know how. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other, you know.
So you're not one of those people at all that needs the inspiration.
I didn't know I was gonna do this till I was like 25. I was a wild animal till I was like 25, maybe 24. It was like in between that. I was just all over the place, and I got a really, really cool experience. And then my brain flipped a switch, and it was like, here it is. This is what it is. And it just like made so much sense to me, even though I had no idea. I didn't like, you know, I don't have family in this. I don't have friends in this. I was I was in South Florida at the time, and then I came back to PA for another year of school and finished up and came out here. But I was just like, I know, which is crazy. You know what I mean? And I think part of not having to prove anything was just I had the feeling of like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. And was there a spark to that?
Yeah. I was at FAU my like basically senior year, but I took some time, so it was like my junior year. And I was just a hustler, you know. I'd be on Craig's like looking for random jobs, random gigs, and like I saw this one post that was like, come play basketball for a movie or a show or whatever. And I played basketball at the time, and I was like, cool, dude, get paid to play ball. That sounds really awesome. And the night before I like inquired and just said, hey, I play basketball, whatever. And they're like, cool, we'll send you a call sheet. And I was like, what the fuck's a call sheet?
Yeah, you can call me on my phone.
Yeah, just call me. Like, just tell
Send
me.
it back.
Yeah. And I remember getting an email like a night before the shoot or whatever, and it was like, here's the address, show up here, 6 a.m. And I was like, cool, dude, all right. Dude, I show up the next morning, Miami Heat court, right?
Wow.
And this is like during like, I think it was like during the LeBron era of like him down there. And I'm like, dude, I'm on the Miami Heat court playing basketball. This is sick, dude. And like, I had no idea why I was there. I remember like getting fitted for a jersey or whatever. And then, dude, they're like, yeah, you're on Lil Bow Wow's team. And I was like, what? Because I remember watching his show on Disney Channel, right?
Yeah.
Like, didn't he have a show on Disney Channel? I was like, dude, I love that guy. And then like I met him, and we're like slapping hands, and we're like, yo, we're just gonna be shooting ball. I'm just like, this is fucking epic. I had no idea what I was doing with my life, right? And I was okay with it. Like, I was really open, receptive. I was in communication, so I was like taking all these different classes, and I was enjoying it, but I still didn't know, you know? And I know a lot of people that don't know from back home, and it sort of weighs on them. They're like, what the fuck am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Which is a hard question, you know? I think you really have to like sit with yourself to figure that out. But anyway, the rebooting Charlie's Angels, it failed horribly, but that day, I just remember like stepping back, watching the scene unravel. I got to meet the entire cast because they all came down onto the court, and I just started talking to them, and I was just like, what is this? Like, what are we doing? And then I like watched like Lil Bow Wow's like uncle get shot or whatever, and then I watched him like start to tear up, and like there was just like thousands of people there, and like everybody was there for this bigger thing, right? Like everybody was committed to this bigger project, this bigger idea, and I was just like, dude, this is what I'm gonna do the rest of my life. And I like had no idea what. And then I just started doing hella research, read a ton of books, went to auditions in South Florida, and like completely failed the shit out of them. Like I was like, they're like, don't look at the camera. I'm like, what? What do I do? They're like, get out of here. I'm like, oh shit, my bad. And you know, it was just like one step in front of the other, and I slowly started to like find a rhythm and start to carve things out. And just, I remember after that year, I started failing some classes. I went back up and finished school at Temple in Philly, and I did a couple like student films, which is like wild, because how did I book anything not really knowing stuff besides like just reading? And then I took a bunch of acting classes at Temple and ended up getting a minor in theater or whatever. And again, dude, just slowly figuring it out. And then when I graduated, I was gonna move for sure. And then my buddy was like, let's go to LA. And I was like, let's do it, dude.
That's
let's
great.
just fucking do it. And we like crossed the country for 16 days, shot a documentary, and got here with like $10, you know, and just fucking, I've been here the 21st of this month, April, 8 years.
Wow.
8 fucking years, dude.
Yeah. Well, maybe we
Thank
go
you
into...
for letting me relive that whole.
No, that's
bit
awesome.
right there.
That's why we do this. It's for us and you. But Yannick, go into maybe how we know.
Yeah, I met Mark through Central Casting. Essentially, it was a casting for a short film that I made a while back.
Wait, Central?
not central casting, casting connections. I met your friend Sarah.
Yes.
On casting connections, and the short film had 2 characters, and we just could not find the second character. Like 1,600 applications for both roles.
New news for me. I did not know that. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, I waited a year this is the year after information dump.
Oh shit.
No, just kidding. But yeah, so tons of applications for both, which I was amazed that many people are like, within a day, 1,600 for both roles.
Let me elaborate on that real quick. I follow a couple casting directors out here, and sometimes they share the breakdown. And for one role, I've seen 8,000 plus for
Crazy.
one role.
Wow.
Yeah.
For one role.
Yeah.
And that's like, they're clearly not going to watch 8,000. They're like, cool. I don't even know what the fuck they do. They probably don't even look at half of them because they're like, there's got to be one person within the 4,000. So they probably just chop off a half. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, you're not even getting looked at.
And I mean, I did a version of this because it's so many, I looked through all the photos, but then if they didn't, have, I forgot there's like different versions of levels of how they can submit to you. But for example, if nobody wrote anything, then I just swipe over the image. And if it's a definite no, then no. But like out of those 1,600 people, maybe 100 actually wrote something. We're like, hey, this project looks cool and we'd like to be a part of it. And then out of those, even fewer actually sent a video. And maybe I think 14 people sent a video on for the female character. And one of those people was Sarah. And Sarah is the one that I liked her right away, and we decided to cast her. And by the way, this was not a project that had a large amount of pay or prestige or anything. It was like a tiny project. So I was like, holy shit, so many people. And good people. Like her reel is amazing. She's done a lot of good stuff.
Oh, no. Sarah's phenomenal.
It's a real deal.
Great actress.
And we couldn't find anybody else. And then Sarah brought up you and was like, hey, I know this guy who would actually be great for it. The 2 roles kind of called for a romantic connection. And I was going to take it one way where we kind of make it authentic and these are actually people meeting for the first time, these 2. But then she suggested you, and we have this great connection. And at first I thought maybe not a good idea if you guys already know each other well.
Right, I think I remember this a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of back and forth. But then you sent your reel of a little section of text that I had forwarded to you, or she did. And I was like, okay, this guy is also the real deal. And then that's
I'm
how
the real fucking deal.
There we go.
deal. at the time, 7 years in. No.
Oh yeah, it took me 7 years to become the real deal. Just saying.
Yeah. I ended up filming it, and it was like I did like a little video interview for it recently because it went into some festival, and I just kind of reflected on there. I'm like, that project was traumatizing to me, like PTSD, because it was about something really personal.
That's right.
And I had to relive it by writing it almost word for word, relived it by directing it with you guys, and then relived it editing it, and then reliving it again, talking about it afterwards. So traumatizing. And
didn't you also allow that person to see it?
yeah, and then the person saw it at the end, and which luckily was relief because she liked it. But long story short,
fuck that. Just kidding.
We love you, Haley. But long story short, Mark has a special place in my heart because of that, and always will.
That feels so nice to hear words like that.
Yeah, well, it's true. Yeah, we're now kind of right now reconnecting because Mark has some interesting projects on the horizon, and before we get into that, kind of catching up on your origin story.
Yeah, that was a good one. I mean, me and Sarah had worked on a project before, and then we instantly became best friends through that. And she's just so easy to work with. I mean, at least my experience, you know what I mean? And I remember when she did bring me up, I sent you a tape, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I think I remember like immediately being like, this is great. And then obviously like it was just super conversational, which I feel like me and her had regardless, you know what I mean? And that was a really fun shoot, dude. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Everyone else that was there working on it, and just like, like you said, it was a passion project. And those, I don't know what it is. Those, that's like more fulfilling to me than like whatever day player on this, or like, oh, you're already, the show's 4 seasons in here. It's like the passion projects, because that seems to be a recurring theme out here. In my experience, like last weekend I worked on a short that was a passion project that was like 3 years in the making. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you really sit down and you figure out, why are we doing this, versus like just, oh, it's a job, or I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget that project either. You know, that just felt so natural and good.
Yeah.
I think that's another part of the idea of making it, right? Is you get to work on things that really mean something, even if it's like not your passion project, but like being a part of someone else has a fulfilling aspect to it.
Yeah.
You know?
And maybe go into a little bit about what your role is. You said that, of course you're an actor, but what do you feel like you do? Are you always acting? Are you...
Here's a therapy session real quick. I'm always acting. I don't even know who I am. Lately, you know, it is a hard thing to balance. When I first got out here, I thought I was so behind. You know, I'm 25 years old, and I'm just like, you're meeting people that have been doing this since they were 5. You know, and you're just like, fuck, dude, I don't even have a shot. Like, you've been literally acting your whole life. Now I'm competing with you. And I'm just like, so I just like shut shit out. And I was like grinding, like looking online, submitting, looking on Craig's again, every internet site. I'm just on it. And I didn't really have a life outside of it, right? Because I'm just like jumping into classes and like just talking to people and meetups and everything. Because I just was like, how am I going to compete with people in LA? You know what I mean? And so for a long time, that's all my life was. And then, you know, in the mix of going home and like family stuff, and then just like getting into relationships out here, you just slowly start to like, and then of course, as you mature, you're like, okay, I need to have a life too. You know what I mean? I need to like actually, because then that reinforces your performances, right? And that's like something I'm kind of in the midst of right now, of being like, it's weird. I don't want to be like, when I die, right, be like, oh, he was an actor. Like, I don't want that to be my legacy. I don't want it to be like, that's the first thing people think of.
That's been a theme in the podcasts. Just reintroducing life.
Yeah, because, you know, my mom died 5 years ago, which was the most traumatic experience of my life. Last night I cried super hard about it. You know what I mean? It's never going to go away. And I'm just like, dude, life is so precious and beautiful. And again, that's what it means. If I had a genuine connection with someone, even one person on that set, I'm like, that's what I remember. That's what I care about. That's me making it in life. You know what I mean? I like broke my walls down. They did too. And we shared that together, you know, and that happens on these sets, you know, especially passion projects. You know, we're really getting into it, and you're expressing how you feel about it. And it's like, cool, you set the bar. Let me follow suit and express how I really feel about something. Versus like, you know, going through life, we start to build all these walls up and shit. And it's like, you don't even face people, or you don't even look at them out here, because LA is such a hustle and bustle place. That's why I love acting too, is you really get these genuine moments of someone's doing yard work right behind us. That's life though. It's happening.
We're in a park.
Life is happening. That is like,
so I'm reintroducing. I thought it was
I thought it was a drone. I was looking up
the second angle coming up.
Yeah, we got production value, baby.
I think he's got to be almost done. He's just doing the sides.
He's doing this because he saw us.
Dude,
He's doing
Friday
the classic
evening.
He's doing the classic. Bring out the yard work gear. Somebody's filming something to get paid.
Yeah, we'll get him in the background. That's our guy. He's actually not even doing it right, because I used to do that kind of work, so it just looks like he's not really doing it right. If you can zoom in on it.
And
he's unplugged. He's unplugged.
He's done.
Let's go.
We got that.
The Friday night can begin.
He's like, okay, time to crack a cold one.
Yeah. He's like, let me get a beer real quick. I'll be out. I'll be right back out. I think I missed an edge or something.
Okay. is it always something different? Are you finding similarities in the work that you do, or it's always a new project?
No, it's always new, you know? It's always new because you're working with new people and you're getting someone else's perspective on life, you know? And again, with passion projects, you're really seeing their perspective on life.
Yeah.
You know, like what did they experience? Something obviously totally different from me, which is a cool challenge. It's always a challenge, you know? And that's where the work stops being work. It's like, this is fun. I get to like try and experience something I've never experienced before. And then if you have had the same experience, well, it's never the same, right? It's always a little bit different, but it's like, cool, let me bring what I know and then pair it with what's in the script or what we're collaborating on. So like every single project's different. It's always worth it to like figure it out, to like piece the puzzle together, you know what I mean? And I think one of the most beautiful things is like, there's no perfect part of it, right? You're never gonna make something perfect. And like releasing that pressure is fun because like you had an idea about this film, I had an idea about this film, we worked together, and then something else happened. You know what I mean? And like we got what we got, and I think you just get to a point of being like, cool, this feels good. But obviously it wasn't like exactly what you had in your head, you know? And that's part of the magic of it all. Like we're just creating something together.
Based on the conversation we had earlier about not liking reshoots, that's kind of on that subject too, because I feel like not liking reshoots, that kind of takes the magic away, because you allotted this time and these people to do this thing, and it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to.
It's not a controlled experience.
But that's what it is, yeah. Like we're not going to keep pounding it until it's perfect. Obviously, some projects, whatever, Disney Channel, whatever, blah, 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 you kind of have to like answer to somebody. But if it's a passion project, then, you know, that was it.
Because it's part of the beautiful mess of life is getting an end result that's beautiful mess. You know what I mean? And I think, I don't want to get too specific in case someone sees this, but you kind of have to take what you get, unless there's like a sound issue, right? Or like there's like, oh, the camera wasn't recording, which I've experienced too, you know, which is really shitty. You're like, fuck, dude, that was my best performance.
I did it.
I mean, finish the project, but
but like
don't keep tinkering with it until it's,
because that's when you learn too, right? Oh, here's where I messed up. Here's where I made a mistake. Here's where I didn't follow through. Here's where I didn't execute.
Diminishing returns.
When you remember the learning process versus if it just goes right, then you're like, oh, I did it. You know what I mean? It's like you can find beauty in those little mistakes or whatever, and then just take it to the next one. You know?
And then also talking about you having a diverse experience, you also do a very diverse amount of things. We talked about your love for passion projects. I know that you were part of, or maybe still are part of, a YouTube channel that's
recently got the call where they're going in a different direction. I saw that coming, but I thoroughly enjoyed the entire process of it all. You know, that was brand new for me. Like a whole new, like, it was kind of acting, but it was more so like, you know how YouTube channels are. It's very in your face and like pronunciate and present yourself and like play games and challenges and stuff. But that was beautiful because the people I was working with were really, you know what I mean? And it comes back to what we were saying, like how I feel like a lot of the things that I've gotten were meant to be, you know what I mean? Is I always find that one or two things where I'm like, oh, here's something I'm going to never forget, or here's something I'm going to learn from, or here's something I'm going to grow from. And I definitely did from that. And I think at that time in my life, it brought me a lot of joy. It obviously helped me financially, which was awesome as well. And it was just really fun. I mean, I'm kind of bummed that I'm not in it anymore, but I think it's cool because like it was just another launching pad to something else. You know what I mean? And
for context, it was a kids YouTube channel, right? And very playful, very fun, which is probably different than the commercial stuff you do, because you do a lot of commercials too, right? And
I go out a lot. I'm a very unique performer, so I've definitely probably get 1 out of 150, maybe 1 out of like 300. So it looks like I'm doing a lot.
Okay.
I'm definitely getting a lot of no's. So let's be real. Like I got like 6 no's this week. Well, it's Friday, so maybe like 12. Yeah, there's a lot of no's in this business.
How often do you apply? Like, how many projects a day or a week do you apply for?
Applying? Yeah, like hundreds throughout the week.
Wow.
But then actual auditions, I mean, I'm lucky. I definitely have been averaging at least 5, maybe 6 a week, which is, from what I hear, more than majority. But then I'm also questioning like how much effort, because I have a couple of agents, right, all throughout the country. I'm willing to be a local hire anywhere, which is also like fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like, I'll put myself up, I'll fly out and work the job because I just love it. You know what I mean? Whereas like most people just stay in their market. You know what I mean? Like, I'm only going to work in LA, and it's like, well, that's going to take some time. But I submit myself as well. You know what I mean? I'm out there like I still do my research. I still am trying to reach out to people or reconnect with people I might have worked with in the past. You know what I mean? And you just kind of have to. You know what I mean? We don't live in that perfect. I don't even know if not perfect, but like back in the day, I felt like there was maybe a way to go about it. Right? Nowadays, it's like what we were saying earlier, make your own stuff. You know, I'm trying to do all that too. Make my own stuff, try different things, challenge myself in a new way, learn something new, and keep bringing that to the table, you know?
Yeah.
And keep recreating that spark, you know what I mean? Like, when I first got out here, dude, I could have flown off. Like, I was just a bird, dude. I was like, everything's amazing, life is amazing. And then like years of this, it can really fuck you up. You know what I mean? And LA feels like this place that can just suck your soul out, and like all the hope and passion in you. And it's just like, how do you keep reminding yourself why you started? And when you get to that place, like really like sit there, close your eyes, breathe, and be like, why did I start this? Throw everything out, throw the results out, throw all of the no's out, throw all the things that you did accomplish out, like throw it all away. Like, you're back to square one. And be like, you know what I mean?
You do need that. You do need that reminder constantly with all this chaos happening, and like the LA has, I mean, I've only been here for about a year, but I've already experienced it, like testing my limits of like, do you want to stay here? Do you want to go? And it's like, there's some
a car problem.
Yeah.
How are you doing now?
Yeah. What are you going to do, huh?
You had a good day?
And I do have a question with that of like
you had a good morning?
Yeah.
Oh, wait till
Check this out.
noon hits.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know me, dog.
Because it's breaking you down, you have to understand, why did I come here? And it's something that I've asked myself many times in those moments, and then also in the good moments, why did I come here? And you almost kind of need that answer.
Let me hit you with a day one. So my first day when we landed here, I booked a music video day one, right? Had no place to live, just me and my buddy in his car. I was like, cool, it's an overnight gig. It's like a music video or whatever. You could watch it on YouTube. It's
Link in the bio.
Hilarious. Don't watch it, please. Anyway, I was like, great, it's an overnight gig. I don't need a place to sleep tonight. We're gonna be done around 6, 7 in the morning. I'm just gonna meet back up with my friend. We're just gonna go about our day and figure out our next steps. We got done at like 2 in the morning.
Wow.
Like, fuck, dude. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm calling my buddy. Not answering, he's asleep somewhere. And I'm like, I just start going around the crew, and I'm like, yo, is anyone going back to like Venice? You know what I mean? Like, because we were all the way down in Torrance, and I didn't know my way around the city yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And someone was like, I can take you to Venice. I was like, oh, dude, thank you so much. That means the world to me. And I get a ride back to Venice, and he was flying. No one's on the fucking road. I'm like, dude, you could have slowed down. Like, I needed a little bit more time. And we get there. It's like 2:45 in the morning. And I was like, call my buddy. And I just get dropped off where, like, you see the word Venice, like in that little square, right? Like, I don't even have a specific location. It's just Venice.
Where do you want to go? Venice.
Where it
says.
Where it says Venice. And, yeah. And he drops me off. Thanks, man. See you later. He's like, good luck. I'm like, I need it. And I'm calling my buddy, he's not answering. I went to just go sleep on the beach, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But then I saw all these signs that were like, you can't sleep on the beach until like the sun's up or something like that, right? I'm like, fuck, dude. Now I'm just roaming around this, and like it's crazy. Like,
All the crazy people are out.
yeah, well, just like, people are moving and making sounds and shit. I'm all alone with a backpack, and I'm like, I got so exhausted from walking. I just sat down on a bench, and I was like starting to doze off, but I was so scared, and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing?
Wow.
Like with everything, with my life, how did it get here? Because like my 16 days were beautiful. Like we were just saying yes to life, meeting amazing people. And now I'm sitting on a bench in Venice, like day one, like lost as fuck, crying. Like, what am I doing? I'm so lost right now. You know what I mean? And then the sun came up. Finally, I walked over to the beach, fell asleep. My buddy called me. We got in his car and we just kept it moving. You know what I mean? It was nutty.
Wow.
And then like a week later, I got a job. And then a week after that, I found a place to live, which was crazy. And yeah, you just have to like, it's almost like you have to have these meltdowns because then it stops you and it makes you go, why did I come out here? You know what I mean? Why am I here? What made me do this? And that's going to be the stronger of the two. Because like it's so easy to quit, so easy to give up. You know what I mean? When you remember why, you're like, oh yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
You know?
And it builds your confidence too. You're like, oh,
I got
this
through
isn't so
that.
bad.
I got through
like,
that.
I've
you
had
did it.
much worse.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've had worse than that even after
okay.
that.
Well,
So like,
and-
that was
and
just
even
day
stronger,
one.
even more confident. So you being open to the experience is actually a good segue to a recent project that you worked on, which is Big Shark by Tommy Wiseau, which is bound to be a good story.
Blockbuster hit.
I just want to know how you even got into it. I mean,
Goodness, this is a great story.
all right, go.
This is fantastic. This is wild too. I feel like a lot of my like, I don't know, just some like bigger stuff always has a story behind it, right?
Yeah.
I guess it just has to. So I remember seeing the breakdown on Actors Access like over 2 years ago, right?
Oh my God.
And I saw who was behind the project. It was his name was on it with someone else. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. It was like, it's an indie thing. It's not like this is like a big, and like the pay was whatever. But I was like, oh, I know that movie. That could be fun. And then, and then oh my God. And then, see, this is where it's going to get crazy. And then I got the sides and I was like, what the fuck is this? What is it? It was like, I remember the scene was like, we're being chased by a shark. We're in a truck. And then we pick someone up and then I just drop them off. And I'm like, all right, see you later. But like, there's a flood. And I'm just, I was like, okay, I'm going to try. I'm going to be an actor.
Is it written like a normal
Oh, no,
script, or
God,
is it
no,
just
no,
like bullet
no.
points, or what are we?
I mean, it's written like a normal script, but it makes no fucking sense.
Okay.
Which
So-
is
so I was like-
kind of what you want in a shark attack kind of movie. No?
I'm gonna say 99% of people don't want this.
No,
As an actor. I gave it a shot, and I remember because you put yourself on tape. I'm putting myself on tape, and I'm just like in this fucking scene. I'm like, none of this makes any fucking sense. Didn't do it. Didn't submit. Let it go. So whatever, dude. I don't give a shit. Dude. A year and some change later, I'm looking on Craig's and I'm just, in the talent section or whatever, and I see like a feature film. It's written well because that's part of the prerequisites to actually submit on Craig's. Like it has to like be written well.
Yeah,
and
okay.
you have to like see a breakdown and like, there's everything.
You
You
got
can't
your-
just be
you got
like,
standards.
hey, we're shooting a movie. Do you want to,
Yeah.
get a response, and there was like a legit looking casting director attached to it, or like a name or whatever, and I looked them up and I don't think I actually found them, but there was like something similar, so I was like, oh, it's maybe whatever, independent stuff, you can't always like find everything. So I get a little tiny chunk of sides. I'm like, okay, it's really simple, and it had no feel like the last experience, right?
Okay.
And I was like, cool, I'll just put this on tape. Put it on tape. They're like, great. A couple of days later, I got a call back, and it was in person. And this was like a little after COVID, so like I hadn't been to a callback in a long time. And the day finally comes, and I almost just didn't go. I almost was just like, I don't really want to. It's in Beverly Hills. Again, I don't have a car. Like, I had so many excuses not to go. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going. I'm just going. Who cares? Let it go. Whatever happens, happens. And I go. I go. This is so good, dude. I pull up. I took an Uber. I get dropped off. And it's like this abandoned mattress storefront. There's a big fucking poster board and like shitty handwriting that's like casting in the back, go around.
He's like
the
a
side.
fugitive hiding from the general public.
And I'm like, if that's not a red flag enough, I'm going. I'm
And you
going
went
around
in.
the block. I'm going in the back alley, and I'm gonna find this fucking place. And I walk around. And this is so good. I love this whole experience. I walk around. I like see another sign that's like casting in here, like a fucking construction paper, like. And I walk in. There's this kid sitting there, and I'm just thinking, 2 chairs and like a little table. This kid's sitting there, he's young, and I'm like, oh, hey, man, you checking us in? He's like, no, I'm here for it, too. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And it's in, like, a parking lot. Like, we're in the parking lot of this back storefront with, like, a little cage around. And so I'm like, okay, sitting here. Out of the back door of this fucking warehouse comes flying Tommy Wiseau out the back. And I'm like, no fucking way is this really happening right now? There's no way. Like, it's again, remember, like, I turned down the audition over a year ago. Like, there's no way this is still going on. And I'm just like, well, and then, like, I think in that moment, because it had to have been that moment, that I was just going to be like, yep, I'm down. I'm down for whatever. Like, I'm just down. Like, I had
Gets
to have
paid in
made-
mattresses. Or
Yeah,
like,
I'm like, anything he says, like, I'm down. And he comes out, and he's like, oh, great, yeah. And then he's like, oh, you signed in? Cool. You put your name and everything down? And I'm like, yeah, man, this is great. And he's like, cool, we're doing a scene, us 3. Because we were the first 2 people there, and it was a scene of 3 people. And he immediately changes my character, and I'm like, oh, okay. And this is bits. The whole thing was nutty. And then we're reading it. He's like, well, we'll just do a quick read through. And I was like, cool, all right, we'll just do a read through. I had like the first line or whatever, and I just like said it. We're doing a read through. I'm a new character now, so I'm just doing a read through. And then as soon as I said the first like 3 or 4 words, he was like, no, emotion. He's like, we need emotion. And I was like, yeah, I know. Like, I just thought we were doing a read-through. And he was like, no, all we have in this life is emotion.
Nice.
And I was like, you're right. Yes. Okay. So then I remember like looking back down at my lines and just like almost screaming them with like emotion. And then we just started going. And then he's like, okay, good. Now we do it over here. And then who I found out to be, his name's Thomas, was there shooting it. Like, we were shooting it on like an iPad or whatever, and we had like a setup or whatever, and like we're shooting this scene. Meanwhile, while he's setting that up, other people are showing up to audition.
Oh,
There's
wow.
like people funneling
you guys are doing this in the waiting room.
Well, the back lot.
Back lot. Waiting.
And like people are showing up, dude, and it's like hot out, and like people are sweating, and like I'm sweating, and oh man, so people are showing up, and we're setting up, and I'm like, okay, we're performing in front of people too, because they had nowhere to go, right? It was just like they're standing
Turn
there
around.
watching us. But the scene's wild. It doesn't even make sense. Like, there's eggs, and I'm like, wait, dude, sharks don't even lay eggs. Like, what the fuck is going on? And then I'm like,
Wait, do sharks lay eggs in this movie? Is that?
well, like, I don't even know if that ended up making the script or not. Like, I eventually died at some point.
Oh, spoilers.
Spoilers, because they changed the script. That's a whole nother
I
story.
mean, it might be not spoilers because we don't know.
We
what
don't know.
The,
we don't
what the
know.
final
Maybe
cut
I
is.
kept living. I don't know. But yeah. So now, oh right, okay, yeah. So we get through the first scene. He's like, oh yeah, okay. Now we improvise, and then I was like, okay, sure. Like, I just kept saying yes, right?
Yeah.
He runs back into the warehouse, and we're just like, improvise. what? Like, what are we gonna do? And he's like, oh yeah, you'll see. Like you'll see. Tommy's got an idea. And then he comes flying back out with like wardrobe, right? Like he's got a clothing brand, and like he like throws his tank top. He's like, put this on. And like I'm like, okay. And I just like put on a tank top with like this big yellow star on it. Like he's like, okay, good. And then
I love that it's not like what he's envisioning for the character. It's just his merch.
And then we just start improvising like we were scuba diving, and we like found the cave where the shark is, because we were like trying to go find him and kill him or whatever. And I'm just like in it, and he just kept like stopping and starting, and like it kind of just became this thing like you had to like agree with all the things, right? Like he would sort of set the tone, and it's
kind of a dictator approach.
Yeah, because if you wanted to take it too far, like then it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. Even if it made sense, it wouldn't work. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, cool. Whatever I hear you say, I'm just gonna add a little bit, but like supplement it, right? And I'm like leaving some things out. But then we finally get through that. And then he's like, okay, great. And then he runs back inside. And people are watching us. Like, they're here. Like this is a long time. It's 30 minutes in. We're still 30 minutes in. They're standing there. More people are showing up. And I'm just like, here I am in a star tank top, just like doing whatever he said. And he runs back in. Comes running back out. Now we play football, and I'm like, what?
Oh, he loves that. If anyone saw them from the room, he loves that
I'm
stuff.
like, and here's the thing, like prior to this, I never even watched the movie. I just heard the stories, you know, and seen little clips, and I'm like, now we play football. Football's like kind of deflated, and like we're just like tossing it around, running around, throwing this football around, dude. And I'm into it, dude. I'm into it. Like I'm fully invested at this point. Like, fuck yeah, we're playing football, dude. Like that's what's happening. And again, dude, people are just fucking watching us do this. And I'm just like, how could you ever stand and wait for this, like for their turn, right? Their turn.
So do you think he did that with everybody, like the full?
I have no it gets better, dude. It gets better. It gets fucking better. And then he goes, okay, great, and like points at us, monologue, go. And I'm like, what? And then he runs off. And then like Thomas was like, yeah, he wants a monologue. We'll record a monologue. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I hadn't done a monologue in forever. I like let the other kid go first. I was like, you got it, bro. I'll go after you. And like he didn't have shit either. And he like stumbled through singing like a birthday song or whatever. And then I remember I always used to do this monologue from Tupac, where he's like pressing his friend about like him being crazy, and he's gonna threaten his friend, like kill him and shit. And so I just snapped and like did that monologue on camera. And then he was like, oh wow, great, comes back out. And then he's like, okay, are you free? Because it was like next week. He's like, are you free next week? I was like, yeah, I'm free next week. He's like, okay, do you want to know how much money you make? And I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck, dude? Like, you're just
as people are waiting in line.
People are watching. And I'm just like, dude, no, it's okay. Like, send me an email if you want, dude. Like, and he's like, okay, we'll be in touch. And then he's like, okay, give me the clothes.
Oh, you didn't get to keep
I didn't get to keep them, dude. I walk out and I immediately just like call my brother. And I walked all the way home from this experience too, because I like called my brother and I had to like retell the story to him, because I'm like, dude, you have no fucking clue what I just experienced. And he's like, what? And as soon as I said Tommy Wiseau, he like lost it. Because most people know. But yeah, I don't know. You think he went through? This is a great question. You think, because there was like, at that point, there was like 20 other people watching.
Yeah. Or do you think also because you ended up being in it, do you think he was looking for something specific, or he literally just picked the first guy who was just willing to do whatever he wanted to do with like confidence?
That's what I think. I think he was testing your limits. He was like, doing this. Okay, he was able to just do this on the fly.
And you were just in.
Down, dude. So who's crazier, me or him? Like, probably me.
He's just looking for his crazy match, I think.
Yeah, maybe. And you know what? The whole time, it had to have just been like, he was so dedicated, committed. It was so contagious. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's probably what it was. It wasn't like I was just like, okay, I'm down for whatever. It was probably like me
He was
with it.
excited about it.
And I was like, fuck yeah, here we go, dude. This is it. It was the most in the moment. No, don't think about anything. And that's how the entire filming process was. It was like, just go. When he said monologue, go, like, that was it. That was the whole film. Like, go. And I was like, oh, it's like for me, it was like an actor's dream. Like,
Yeah.
we're not preparing shit. We're just fucking going.
Just
dude.
in the moment.
And nothing will ever compare to that. No other. I mean, maybe in the future something could compare to that. So then I went on to shoot this thing for months at a time. Right, 1 week out of every month for the next like 4, 5, 6 months, which is crazy because New Orleans is fucking nuts too.
They
That's
fly
where we
you out,
shot.
right?
Yeah. Also, still pays with checks. Because that was like a big thing.
Yeah.
Like I have his checks saved in my wallet. Like that's kind of
Gosh.
it's kind of like 1991 of him or something.
Yeah.
But
Maybe he doesn't know.
Or he just has a way.
not his-
It works. Why fix it?
Yeah.
It's not. It ain't broke. Don't fix it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, going there and spending a week of time. I remember one of the trips, I worked on a film in Mississippi. I booked like a day player on a film. Had like a character, had a really specific scene with like blocking and stunts and like all this shit. So like I prepared normally for that role, did the shoot, and then the next week I drove back to New Orleans, and like I rented a car out there and drove back to New Orleans to shoot this for a week, which is nothing like the previous day. And then I flew to Arizona to shoot a commercial, which is a whole nother preparation style too. And then I was back in LA, and I remember like the transitioning of all three of those projects within like an 8 or 9 day experience.
Yeah.
8 or 9 days. Wow.
Like when I got to Arizona, I was like, when I would go to New Orleans to shoot this and come back to LA, it would take me like 2 days to readjust to reality because I felt like it was a dream. I felt like it didn't even happen because of the process of it all. We lived in the Airbnb together. We spent like the entire 24 hours out of the day together. Like it was wild.
Yeah.
It was
It's got to be mentally exhausting.
Yeah, I was gonna
from going
say.
back and forth and then.
Yeah, and just the way you prepare for things different and how other people work on set is just so different. I remember getting to the commercial in Arizona and like feeling like I didn't know how to talk to people. I was like, I don't know how to talk to you. I'm like, fuck, I got lines in this thing. I don't even know how that's gonna happen. After like 3 hours of just like sort of slowly taking steps towards it, we got, it was good. It was still a good experience. And then I got back to LA and I was like, who the fuck am I? What is going on?
Change
Did
your
that
whole-
even happen? What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
It was so nutty.
Was it ever like on set, being with him on set, working in that style, ever exhausting in and of itself like that, or was it just playground, like you were saying, just the whole time, or was it ever like, holy shit, I'm like having to uphold this dream reality to be here in the correct way, and it's clashing with my normal reality, or were you just in?
So I think it was day one. like day one, New Orleans. I meet the team, right, and then we're on set, and like I remember he just kept saying this thing, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because I didn't know anybody yet. I didn't know like how they felt about this thing.
Right. Where's everybody else at? Is everybody there as a joke?
Yeah, right.
Is he serious? That's the big question
and like,
everybody's
everyone's
asking.
treating it so fucking serious, and I'm like, no way, no. I walked away, got in the car, called my brother, and I was like, dude, I'm booking a flight. I'm coming home. Like, I can't fucking do this. He's like, dude, chill the fuck out. And I'm like, no, you don't fucking get it, dude. Like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. I can't. And I'm having like a meltdown, dude, because I didn't know how everyone else felt. I was like, and then I like got off the phone with my brother. I like grabbed the DP and I was like, bro, how do you feel about this whole thing? he's like, dude, man, it's fucking whatever. Like, yeah, man, I get you. Like, I see you. Like, I just needed someone to see me, right?
What did
Because
he-
I felt like I was in you ever see those movies where like people die, but they're there, but like they're like, hey, look, and then people just walk through them because they're just a ghost now. That's how I felt, and I was like, no one understands what I'm experiencing. I'm losing my like I really thought I lost it. I thought I fucking lost my mind.
Scary.
And he's like, yeah, bro, I get you. Like, it's good. And I'm like, oh.
You are on mushrooms. Like, you are. You can relax.
You're literally
I can
dead.
feel them
You're
too.
dead. This is just like the afterlife. And I was like, okay. And then that just opened up the door to this like beautiful experience. You know what I mean? Of like how, again, this was like a passion project. You know what I mean? And it like, I got to see him light up about things and get frustrated about things. And we just were collaborating every single day. You know, we'd be 12 hours on set, and then we would be hanging out afterwards, and then we would all be hanging out afterwards. And it was just like this fucking beautiful life experience. You know what I mean? That like it feels like so, like, I don't even know how to fully share that with other people. It just happened with us. You know what I mean? And it was so fucking amazing.
You're explaining a psychedelic trip. Like you're explaining the stages of like what someone goes through.
How do I share this afterwards?
Exactly.
Yo, exactly, dude. You can't. Like, you only can give bits and pieces because, like, you never knew what was going to happen. Ever.
Yeah.
Which is kind of exciting. It's like improv.
Yeah.
Fully, right?
So once I, like, accepted that, oh, man, it was just beautiful.
What would make him light up? Or what would make him angry?
Like, he would come up with an idea about something with his character, or the way that I would say something, or like he'd get fixated on like one specific detail, and then he'd be like, we need to do that, we need to get that, and then like you didn't even really know why, but you would see how like important it was to him. So then you would start contributing, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, I love that, because again, it's still going to be a little bit different, you know what I mean? It's not going to be exactly what he thinks or what I think, but then it becomes like the thing, and then he would get super excited about it, and then you'd feel like, cool, we did it. Like, I mean, let's be honest, I have no fucking clue how much sense this movie's gonna make whatsoever, but I do know the process of it was like, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm scared too. I kind of don't want to witness people's reactions to it. But like,
Yeah, it's kind of in a weird place because, I mean, obviously the first one, everybody at first thought it was terrible. Then everybody thought it was hilarious, and he became famous. And now I think it's in a weird place where everybody's like, does he know too much? Is he too in on the joke? Or
right.
is
There was discussions about that, but I don't really think he's in on the joke. He's in his own world. You know what I mean?
I think so. It sounds
and
like
he's so
yeah.
passionate about film. Like, I don't think he ever wanted filming to end. I think he just wanted us to keep going there 1 week at a time for the rest of our lives. And I would be okay with that.
No, and I could see that.
totally
I could see
okay.
that in his filmmaking. It's something that I respect for anybody making things, is like you don't really do it to have people watch it and to like, there might be a little aspect of you want someone to like it,
Right.
but like you're doing it because you want to do it, and I see that in his work. Like he is so passionate,
And that's what I started to realize, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
And that's probably the instinct I had at that callback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, wow, dude, this guy loves it, and I love it. And now we're best friends, but we don't know it yet.
If we've learned anything about you, is that you just love to do whatever it is. You just want to do it. Like, you don't care about the final product, or it's secondary, at least to experiencing it. So it's kind of in line with what you love.
It's in the moment. It's just happening. You're doing it together. You know what I mean? It's not like this isolated thing. And when you do have people that like just love it, it's so nice to be around. It's refreshing, you know, because I've had, you meet some people out here where it is a job, it is something, and that's cool too, you know. Damn, that's hype that this can just be a job for you, and you're doing it. But I fucking love it, dude. I fucking love it. It's so fun. It's so challenging. You learn so much every single day, and if I learned the most amount probably on that one. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit, that was crazy. Yeah, I mean, we could do a whole podcast about that. I have more stories.
You know what? I would like doing that, but maybe.
Well, I think what we could do is once it comes out,
we could revisit.
We could revisit, and you could talk about some of the stuff.
Specific points.
Because then people,
because
they'll make more sense because we don't.
Yeah. So I don't know if everything that's gonna make it into the final.
That'd be fun to do.
That would be fun to pick out little moments and be like, oh my God, you have no idea what happened before that moment or like during that moment, And we got away with so much. Yo, New Orleans is lawless. Every time I touch down, I put my fucking pirate hat on and be like, yo, Captain Hook's back. Like, I felt like a pirate every time I was there, dude. It was crazy. And we didn't have permits for anything. We shot downtown. We shot on like the piers, along the river, everywhere you could think of. Never a permit. Like, we just showed up with a big crew and just started shooting.
And that's a usual thing outside of LA. That was one of the things that I was so surprised about. Of like Yannick and I just like bringing out a camcorder and people already looking at us and being like what you got? What are you doing? Like you can't do that here. And it's like I used to live in Portland, Oregon, and it's like you could do that.
Want to be in it? People are
people are
bring that over here.
Like,
so part of that, we experienced a lot of that in New Orleans. One night, I didn't even know we were doing it. We're like, yo, you're gonna be calming everyone in the streets down, that you're gonna save them from the shark. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna go do tonight. And like, we just went to the downtown square, and like, people were down to be in it. And I'm like, and I'm screaming at people, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. And people are walking by like, what are they doing? What the fuck? And I'm just like, I love every fucking second of this.
Oh my God. Did they get any heads up, or like they're just like, do you want to be in a movie?
Some people, yeah. We got some people, and I think they had them sign some stuff, but like, it was just so reckless and lawless and just fucking whatever. We're just point it and shoot it.
There's an appeal to that.
And no one stopped. Like, no one even said like, yo, you can't be here. Like, nothing. It was just like, all right, keep going.
I've had a guy literally in my apartment complex see through a window that I was recording, and I wasn't even recording anybody in particular. I was just recording nothing, just to test the camera. And he came out and like got in my face about it and was like, "Oh, you have to pay the
that guy is not living.
You have to pay the $1,000 filming fee if you want to film here," which is hilarious because I looked into the rules. The cost for violating that rule, if you didn't give them $1,000, is $69. So.
69, nice.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
You're like, actually, I'm gonna 69.
I'm actually gonna pay the fee.
Very good.
Dude, what? Yeah, LA's crazy like that. I feel like.
Or when we shot in the park, it was like we purposely downscaled the cameras and the crew so we could be sneaky. And we went in early because there's cops there, and no fire marshal, no locations manager,
right?
No site rep. You need like 3
think about
people.
That for our film. I felt like we were good to go.
Yeah, I mean, we were purposefully
super
small enough so we could pull the student card or whatever. But you need, like, by the rules, you need the fire marshal, medic, site rep.
Out here,
blah, blah, blah.
it's crazy, and that's why, like, when I put my project together, we specifically built our whole theme around this office that we had access to, that nobody was there. You know what I mean? But like, realistically, if the woman at the front desk, because they obviously had someone at the building, because it was a building for multiple offices, if she wanted to be like, what are you guys doing? We kind of would have been like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we got by every day that we went in there, went up to our office, and then it was like no one was going in there, so we were good to go.
Yeah.
Indie stuff, it just takes a little bit longer because we don't have all the pieces. We're sort of still figuring, like, we don't have a official editor yet.
Yeah.
So we're kind of doing it ourselves. So like, I feel
it's
like,
always on the side. Like, it's
everybody's
hard to...
doing so, we're all hustling, you know. So it just keeps coming together piece by piece, and it's not like, it's not like a bread and butter thing. It's not like, oh man, I can't wait for this to be done. Like, we're still all doing stuff. It's just something that, like, we all got together and we're really excited about, and we just did it. You know what I mean? And it just felt really nice to do. And I'm not really worried about the outcome of it at all. It just felt so fucking nice and refreshing to like put together a story and to like just shoot it and show up with people that like you love to work with and make it happen.
I think that's a pandemic symptom. I think a lot of people, and myself included, like creative people, filmmaker people, have like a project that they either started working on or were working on to kind of revive that little piece that you lost at the beginning. And I know you have one. Yeah, I made one.
Coming up.
This seems like this is yours. And those also has like I feel like a kind of timelessness about it, where I know you were really struggling with should you even keep the COVID component in the story, because it is something you conceived of doing that time. It's just a strange type of project.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're having a similar experience.
I think for me, this project was something that like I took on so many different hats, and I got to like sort of express and use an accumulation of what I've been learning over the years. You know what I mean? And putting those to the test. And to actually be able to pull it off was rewarding in itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Besides it, like, because we have goals of like putting it into a couple festivals by September of this year, and like, you know, keep moving forward from there. We had 6 more episodes written, and now The Office isn't to our veil anymore, so we're not like abandoning it, but we're like, we clearly can't go back and shoot there, so we'd have to adjust the story and all that. But like, the 4 is going to be a good like showcase of what we're capable of doing to then move forward and maybe do something else, or who knows, get picked up to redo it. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's constant. You know, we're constantly learning, constantly growing, and to just keep putting that to the test out here and lock it in. You know what I mean? Like to be a producer was like crazy to me, but it was really awesome. You know, I learned a shit ton more, and who knows, maybe I continue to do that down the line.
Yeah, and where do you want to see yourself in maybe about 5 years? Do you want
I can't even see myself tomorrow.
And that's an answer. You could stay with that.
Nah, you know, I have like my ultimate goals. I have things written down every year, and like I just constantly keep rereading those, keep rewriting those, keep offering those up, but ultimately it's just to keep doing what I've been blessed to do, you know? Like, this is fucking awesome. What we're doing right here, it's another component of it all. And like, I never would have known I was going to do this with y'all. This is like so really like super unique, super fun. And just being open to whatever comes, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like because what I love, again, is passion. I feel like those are going to keep coming, you know? And I'm okay with just like keep riding that wave, you know? And taking those good days and taking the bad ones too.
The joy of the process.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. It's like I really am just trying to figure out how to fall in love with every part of the process. You know what I mean? And I just see myself doing this the rest of my life, at whatever level. You know what I mean? Obviously, you want to be leading big films, but like if that were to never happen, I wouldn't feel like I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the accompanying question is, this is going to be we're doing a time capsule podcast, really.
Oh, hell yeah.
And this is a message for you in 10 years that we're going to send you in 10 years. And this is your time to record that message. We're going to set a calendar reminder.
Gosh, that is intense. Dude, here's what it is. I hope me, is that what it is?
Yeah,
I hope
to
me in
you.
10 years, something to me.
We're going to send it to you.
Oh, bro, I love you. You're amazing. And just keep leading with that love and light, and keep giving, keep servicing other people. You know, I hope that's where you are in 10 years. Like this is, I don't want this to be a selfish pursuit, you know?
It sounds like that's where you are now.
Yeah, but like 10 years, like I could be a cynical maniac, you know?
I hardly doubt.
That'd be quite the 180.
Oh man, let's hope I make 10 years. But gosh, hearing that in 10 years, I would probably start crying. That's really, that's what I want it to be, you know? Because I feel like I've let this sort of ruin relationships at times. And I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be like, you know, I just want it to be purposeful. You know what I mean? I want to love it, and I want to be able to share it with other people, and not just be like, I need this, I need to get this, I need to get to this. You know what I mean? Like, you can still get stuck in those ideas of like, I'm not where I should be, or it's just, that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, you're on your journey, your path, and that's all that matters. You know? And I want to be able to keep giving that back to the people I love, and of course myself, you know?
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I think that was nice.
Yeah.
If COVID taught us anything, like, we don't have the time that we think we have. We don't have the resources that we think we have. Just fucking go for it, dude. Just you like something, try it out. And if it's not what it is, it'll probably lead you to what you're actually supposed to do. Just fucking go for it. You know what I mean? And don't have one foot in, dude. Have both. Jump the fucking deep end in, you know? Just go for it. And I guarantee you'll be rewarded in ways that may not reveal themselves to you right now, but will down the road, you know?
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
it's something I heard you say today.
Yeah, everything. The bad shit is the best stuff that happens. That's what you remember. That's what's going to push you to where you're supposed to be. The easy stuff, that's great, but it's not going to, like, leap you into the next thing, you know?
Yeah.
The good stuff just kind of is like, cool, next step. But when you fucking fail, dude, you're just launching to the next thing, you know? That's really fun.
Yeah.
It's scary,
growth.
it's exciting,
Growth.
it's awesome.
And thank you so much for being on, Mark.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
they got me on a good day, so don't interview me on a bad day.
No, we really do appreciate you. I know it's been a little chaotic getting this together, and as you can see, this is kind of an unorthodox
I love
podcast
it,
experience,
dude.
but that's kind of the fun of it.
Yeah, that's what I would
It fits
prefer.
your style.
Hell yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sick.
Could we, just from you, Yannick, could you be like kind of transitioning into outro, ask Mark? Like, I do want to hear about Shia LaBeouf, because I'm going to add in the start, it was like 5 minutes away. It was like, okay, I want to hear about that.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, well, don't tease us like that. You're gonna have to elaborate on this. On fucking. That's really thick.
Maybe, dude. Like, okay, we got
sounded
it.
good, though.
Let's at least talk about like Shia LaBeouf's story.
All right, give us the Shia story. Break it down. Well, I don't understand what
I am gonna see how I can make that work. Okay,
trying to do like a line reading here. So like it's a script I didn't read. Like,
No, we need emotion.
This is a Tommy
We need
Wiseau.
emotion.
Tell me about Shia.
I'm taking that. I think I can find a way.
All we have in this life is emotion. So, I wrote it in my journal just randomly one day. I was like, I'm gonna work with Shia LaBeouf. And that same week, I ended up working with Jim Carrey, and my buddy was in Tax Collector and worked with fucking Shia LaBeouf for like 2 days. And I was like, what the fuck? Whatever, I'll take it. Jim Carrey's a fucking rock star. He was the most beautiful
Jim Carrey's
person.
fine, I
Yeah,
guess.
no.
You'll
He
take
was like,
Jim.
it was such a gift, dude. I got to give
Mark's
him a
the real
hug.
deal.
And he was so fucking sweet and genuine. I loved him to death. And my buddy shot that movie, and then he got invited to like a rap party, and he's like, come, dude. It was in like Silver Lake. I don't remember the name of the spot. I show up, and he's like, oh man, you didn't come. Like, it's kind of dead in there anyway. So I was like, whatever, we'll go to is it the Shortstop or whatever?
Yeah.
Down the street. I was like, all right, cool. We'll just go there and like ride the night out. He's like, cool, I'll meet you there. I'm just going to say bye to my girl. And I met him there, and he said, bro, 5 minutes after you left, Shia showed up. And I said,
At the
are
Shortstop?
No, at the original
other-
spot.
oh,
And I was like, what the fuck, dude? You've no idea. Like, I love him to death. That's like kind of who I want to, you know, model my career around. You know what I mean? I think he's phenomenal. I think he's such a fucking artist. You know what I mean? And I said, 5 minutes? I said, you didn't call me? You didn't tell me to come back? Like, what the fuck, dude? And so obviously it wasn't meant to be, but like, you know, there'll be a day